difficult is it to get to that point as a team where you really feel that, and then how gratifying is it for a coach to see that?
It's not easy. Again, especially when you're different or when you're new or when it's something that you haven't done, as much in the past stylistically. Again, we had a ton of success last year offensively, being a very stationary and pick and roll team. So coming in this year and trying to create that movement and figure out why are we changing from what we did last year when it worked, wasn't always easy. But I think, again, it's a credit to these guys, their willingness to continue to do it. And it talks about how they feel about one another. In order to play this way, you have to trust one another. You have to trust that when your teammate is open, you believe he's going to make the shot or make the next right play. And when you believe that, you believe that he's going to do the same thing in return, that when you're open, he's going to get you the ball because it's the right play to make. So, it's not easy, and I think that's why, our offense was a little bumpy early on. But I think the guys have found, how it works, and you need a little success, right, to see it's like, oh, it does. So, again, credit to our guys, their commitment, belief in one another, because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to.
We talk so much about Donovan's offense, but he's actually leading the East in steals right now, understanding that steals did not equal defense. But is this the best defense that you've seen him play in his career, or can you speak to the defense?
What I think it is he's become extremely comfortable here in understanding our system, and then he's highly intelligent. So he's able to read where the ball goes and then where he can be and where their outlets are, and then he puts himself in great position. So we like to funnel the ball a certain direction here. We are in certain coverages, whether it's pick and rolls or pin downs, and he's figured out where the only places that they can throw the ball, and he does a great job of anticipating. He's got, I don't know if it's sneaky, but he's got sneaky long arms. So in places on the floor where it may look like it's an outlet, he does a great job of extending and being explosive and getting to those plays. So I think it's a credit to, his basketball intellect and his ability to see the game, and he studies the hell out of the game. So he knows his opponents very, very well. So I think that helps him, obviously, as well.
Chris.
Hey, JB.
What's up, Chris?
How are you going to remember Ricky Rubio?
Oh, man. Ricky was, one of my favorite people to be around in the NBA. I owe Ricky a debt of gratitude that there's only a couple of guys who I could say at this point have had the impact on me that way. He helped us in a brief period of time turn this organization into what you see in front of you again, right? We were 22 wins. His presence allowed me to coach the team in a certain way where no one was too big to sacrifice. He was a starting point guard his entire career. He, was a starting level point guard when he was with us, but he sacrificed to come off the bench to be a part of this team. And that allowed me to coach the team in a way where nobody was above what was the most important thing, and that was only the team. Ricky is one of the most unique spirits I've ever been around, period. He's not a guy who has to say a lot or has to be always in the mix, but somehow, some way, he's got a gravity that people just want to be around him and spend time with him, play for him, not just with him. And he will always have a special place for me, and someday you'll look back at it and he's one of the guys that I know for sure will stand out, and I cannot speak on how appreciative I am of my time with him and our relationship. It's career changing what he was able to help me do.
And you touched on your guys' current play style with Serena. And Jarrett was talking about it the other night too. Like, this is the way that we wanted to play coming into the season. This is what we envisioned for ourselves. Like, you're playing more four-shooter lineups. You guys are passing more than anybody in the NBA. this style that you're playing right now, can you play it when Darius and Evan are with this group too?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think obviously, it may have a different look just because of the personnel and the packages that you have on the floor. But the movement doesn't have to change. The passing doesn't have to change. Allowing everybody to participate in the offense doesn't have to change. And it wasn't going to be an easy transition, right? It was going to take some time, and I think we saw that. But there's no reason why sharing the game has to stop. And again, you talk about Darius and Evan, two guys that love to pass, two guys that are extremely selfless basketball players. So, I think they'll come back and they'll fit right in. And obviously, excuse me, when guys come back from injuries, there's ups and downs and all those things of guys figuring out their place. But from a movement and a sharing standpoint, there's no reason it has to stop.
Thank you.
Tom. Coach, you guys scored 140 the other night, and I think you were like the fourth highest scoring night in the league, and I think 4 teams that scored 130 lost. Points are up across the board all season. Is this the new NBA?
I hope not, to be honest with you. Again, I know, there are a bunch of talented scorers and teams in this league, and I think the depth of talent from top to bottom in this league is as deep as we've seen it in a long, long time. So I think the league is in a great place. Having said that, I think, the competition of things coming hard-earned, people enjoy watching that too. People like to see the fight. And I don't, and again, I know at this age we all love scoring, right? And, we go to my kid's soccer game and they score 1-0 and we're bored to death. But, it's a matter of, that level of competition that great defense presents to those offenses that I think people will buy into and want to see also. I don't think if teams or fans watch a 95 to 93 game and it's competitive, they're going to be disappointed. I think they'll feel like they got their money's worth. So, always being defense first, you know what I mean? I love to see that, and I love that competition, and I think our fans do too.
If I could circle back quick on Ricky, I know you're happy if he's happy. Had you stayed in touch with him? I know you guys were giving him some room and space or what have you.
Yeah, you tried to find the right balance, and you never know exactly what's right in that moment, but always wanted him to know, that we were here with him and thinking of him, and, always got his back. And I cannot say enough, the desire to want to make sure that he was okay after all the things that he did for us here and did for the game of basketball, period. He is an unbelievable human being, and it's not just the basketball stuff, the stuff that he did in the community, the stuff he did, in the hospitals and the cancer wards and those types of things. He is a special, special, special person who, again, could have spent all his time focusing on, people in Spain, but he didn't. Whenever he was here, he was committed to the community that he was a part of, and didn't do it for the fanfare, was never looking for the attention. He just wanted to help people be better, and smile. And you would watch him interact with kids on these hospital visits and how he was able to just uplift them. He's a unique human being, and again, we were very fortunate to have the time with him.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
Apologies if this was asked already, but knowing that they'll make adjustments, you know Wes very well. What is the biggest adjustment that concerns you most going into tonight, especially with the success you had Wednesday, that they could catch you guys kind of slipping, if you will?
I think it's more of a mental and emotional thing. Those guys are very talented, professional, and competitive players. We know, and like I said, we've seen firsthand what Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma can do on an individual basis. Kuz has beaten us here before, almost single-handedly. Jordan Poole, last year when he was with the Warriors, had a night here where he carried them. So, I think that's our mindset is we can't afford to not match that emotional spirit and that competitive edge that I expect them to bring tonight. The X's and O's and those types of things, I think when you come off a game like the other night, are kind of thrown out the window. And it comes down to, a willingness to compete, a willingness to scrap, and do all the small things that lead to wins.
If I can ask a follow-up, you've been around the game for a very long time, and the Wizards have Victor's former teammate in Bilal. What have you seen from him, especially at 19, not looking like a typical NBA rookie?
It's amazing what these young kids. And that makes me even sound even older. But these guys are coming into the league, and again, from a mental standpoint, what they're able to handle. He never, and again, obviously you've seen him more, but from the film I watch, it's like he's not rattled, he's not sped up, he's not pressured. He goes out and competes against the best players in the world, and everything is earned one way or another. And I think to me, you think about being 19 and all the new things, especially coming to a new country that you have to figure out and have to deal with off the court, like how that can impact you on the floor. And he seems to have a maturity that doesn't faze him. And he goes out, and executes the things that they're trying to do and, take his shots and play his game without, allowing the defense or the, pressures of the NBA to change him into somebody he's not.
Last one, Tim.
JB, to piggyback off what Chris asked you about the offense and can it sustain once you get guys back, my question would be, why has it gotten to this level? What has been the change that it's operating at the level it's at now?
Time, to be honest with you. And I think it's been, if you look for, silver linings and those types of things through some of these, injuries, it's when you're down bodies, and you have to figure out a way, and everybody's a part of it, coaches, players, you have to figure out a way to kind of survive. And you play to the strength of the guys that you have on the floor, right? Like when all those guys went out, when we were without Donovan, Karis, Darius, Evan, like we had to figure out a way to hold float, right? And those guys that were out there were movers, runners, sharers, three-point shooters. And I think, everybody saw that we were able to be effective in doing that. And then you add Karis' strength back, Donovan's strength back. Now you've got that movement around guys who are elite individual creators, and it just makes it that much more difficult to guard. And the expectation is, when Darius and Evan come back, they are elite creators as well. So now you're just adding more of those guys, and the guys who are moving around the ball continue to create chaos and become, even more difficult to guard.
Do you sense that this is a comfort level for these guys as far as this is the level that they want to play at or the style that they want to play at?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. Again, I think it's when you see the fruits of it, it always makes it easier. When everybody feels like they're a part of it, it makes it better. And when everybody feels like they're a part of the offense, which is, human nature, going back to when, we were all kids and playing, like when you touch the basketball on offense, you were a much better defensive player. And I think it's similar here. Like if you feel like you're a part of it on the offensive end of the floor, you're just willing to do more defensively, and all the dirty work, diving on the floor, taking charges, like all those things that really lead to winning is because you feel a part of it on the offensive end. And I think our guys have appreciated that.